This is The View from Where We Live. The View from Where We Live, where we'll take a look at the stories of our time.
Welcome to The View from Where We Live. I'm your host, Mary Eckert, and my guest today is Dr. Joseph Sheehan, Superintendent of Schools in Sheboygan at the Sheboygan Area School District. Joe, we met at Forecast Your Future at the EBCO Artworks Gallery, where the Warner High School students put on a confidence fair, and that confidence fair was directed mainly because they were a charter school. Can you just give us 2 seconds about the charter school? And then the point is that while they were talking about forecast your future, speaking of themselves, I want you today to forecast their future in terms of confidence and where the world is going to take them as young people. But first, to get a little perspective, we need a little background on you. Now I know you're 53. You came here when you were 41. Did you come as the superintendent?
No, I actually came, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm originally from Michigan.
Okay.
I'm a Michigan State Spartan. Go Spartans. Okay. And so we have little bets going on when they play the Badgers. I'm a Badger fan when they don't play Michigan State, but other than that, I'm a Spartan fan. Then went down to Houston and taught for 6 years, then became an administrator. Went to the
in Houston.
In Houston, yeah. And then said it was time to come back to the Midwest to raise children. So my first interview was in Sheboygan, thinking to get to my way to Michigan. I accepted a job in Sheboygan. 23 years later, I'm still here. So.
You know, that seems to be a commonality. People come here thinking it's a stop and it's a stay.
Sheboygan grows on you.
I guess.
And if people have told me, said, Joe, you're good, but you're never going to be a Sheboyganite. I said, well,
Here
40 years? How many years does it take? So.
Yeah. In Houston, I think you told me a story about a playground once, that you were on a playground and it had a big impact on you. Is that right?
In Houston, in a playground?
Something, you were patrolling a playground, or maybe not.
There was an issue. Wow.
You had to do recess kind of stuff or something.
Right. And that was actually at the middle school, and there were some students that were not making very good choices, and ended up correcting them as a teacher. But then the next couple of years ended up being their mentor, and they stayed connected with me till they graduated from high school. And I mean, that made me realize maybe I want to be an administrator and make a difference in a bigger picture of a school instead of just a classroom.
How do you, and you got your doctorate?
Oh, I'm sorry, and then I got my doctorate
when you came?
Right. I came here as an assistant principal at Urban Middle School, and then James Madison Elementary School principal for 5 years, and that was a great time. And then Human Resources, Director of Human Resources, then the co-superintendency, and now the superintendent.
So you've been superintendent since what year?
It's been 12 years now as co-superintendent and superintendent. Yeah.
Okay. How do you define your role now in SASD? As superintendent, your personal mission is to
facilitate the resources, which are getting tighter and tighter, so every student is ready for their next step in life. Be it work, be it LTC, be it a four-year college, be it the military, whatever it is, they know what they're good at and what their next step's going to be.
Okay. Where do you put the most emphasis? What's your emphasis thought-wise and your emphasis daily? Like, what really consumes the most time? Budgets and that kind of thing?
For me personally as superintendent, budgets are a significant piece. But again, the budgets go back to what do we value? What's important? And that goes back to 21st century skills for our students. That's what our employers, I mean, at all levels are telling us. If you have a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, or right out of high school, can you work with other people? Are you a critical thinker? In other words, someone gives you something, can you figure out how to solve a problem and not just tell me what to do, and there's not thought process involved? Are you also, can you collaborate with others? Can I work with you on something to get something done?
Okay, going back to the confidence, that's why you were invited here today to talk about confidence and the importance of motivating students Your job, I would think, is to prepare them for their future,
Yes.
not ours.
You got it.
We think in terms of, oh, we have to, get the typewriter fixed. They're thinking iPad and
Right.
computer. What does that quote mean to you? Prepare them for their future, not ours.
Well, and some of the statistics are amazing. There are jobs out there our students are going to have that don't even exist yet. I mean, so to start thinking, and if you're in information age, you learn all this stuff and you'll know everything. Information is changing over daily. So if that's the case, we have to give that up. Okay, what do we instill in them instead? Skills that they have and a self-confidence that they know they're good at something and they can pursue it and be excellent at it.
What are the skills they should be learning? Because way back when they said, oh, the typewriter, that's a passing, it'll never last.
Right.
It's like...
Well, when we were growing up, it was, okay, we read and we get the information, then we write a report or something. Now it's no longer where do you find the material. It's how do you, there's so much out there on the web, is how you distinguish between good data, good resources, and not so valid ones. That's a huge difference.
And what about how much you're expected to do now that it's so accessible, so easy?
But it's different.
You do 20 things in the time you used to do one thing.
Right. Instead of, oh, I'll go off to the library and look that up, click, oh, here, what do you want? It's right there. But part of it, too, is it's 24/7. I mean, our students, that's why our iPad initiative, we're going to be giving our students iPads, and the homework that you and I had homework, go sit at the dining room table and get it done. The kids say, well, I don't have homework. Oh, but by the way, I'm working on a project with a couple other classmates. Well, we don't want to tell them that's homework. But that's the things that they're doing differently, and it's not sitting teacher-driven anymore, and that's been a significant shift for our students.
Not teacher-driven. That's an interesting concept.
Right. They call it, the sage on the stage. So I'm the teacher. I know all the information. I can share it with you.
Sage on the stage, not the guide.
And that's what
the guide on the side.
Exactly, guide on the side, especially with technology, because we don't need to be the sages anymore, because there's so much information and factual stuff out there. Now we have to work with kids of how do they go through it.
How to use it.
Yes, and filter it and then use it if they're doing a persuasive essay on something. Okay, what does that mean? I mean, there's still those skills that we were brought up that they still have to be able to do. They just have technology to help them doing it.
Okay. What do you think are going to be the differences, the changes, how is their world going to look 10, 20 years from now when my high school forecast was to get a good job in Wisconsin.
Right.
Now kids are living globally. Kids I worked with in the past in Sheboygan, when they were students, now working for Oprah or President. One girl working in Harlem for President Clinton. Another person at U.S. News and World Report. This is like unbelievable. It makes me feel limited.
Well, hopefully not limited.
I mean,
hopefully
you
feel successful.
Well.
And it's different. I mean, there's lots of options available to our students. That whole idea too, when we go to work, we go to work. Well, an increasing percentage of people aren't going to work. They're working at home. And that's a different mindset. But again, it's still I don't know about you, but I don't know if I would have the discipline to work at home. I'd goof off and do other things. It's like, okay, I know I'm at work, and I put my time in and work hard and get it done. But our kids are more disciplined of, okay.
You might work at home. I'll tell you, I work at home, and instead of saying, oh, time to punch the clock, it's like, oh, I could get this in, and you just keep going and going and going.
You're right. I laugh. My wife and I, when we have coffee in the morning, it's like, Joe, put the laptop down. So, oh, hi, dear, I'm listening. So, technology has affected even older people like us.
What was
like me.
I'm older, Joe, like you. Your high school forecast, when you were in high school, what did you see ahead for yourself? As opposed, I'm sure you didn't sit there and think, I'm going to be a superintendent of school someday.
No, I didn't at all.
What were you going to be?
Teacher.
Teacher?
Yeah, so I was.
Yeah, and you made me guess what kind of teacher you were.
That's right.
And I was right, first try, social studies.
Impressed, that's right.
Yeah. So how did you go into that?
A lot of it, and again, when I was younger, I was a recreation supervisor in the playground areas, or I was a swimming instructor or a lifeguard, but I was working with kids. And I always thought, I'm always optimistic about the future. Well, how better do you equip and get the future to be positive than work with youth? I know I'm biased as an educator, but that's true. And I hope as we go through, by the way, people, I voted today, it's election day. I hope we remember that and we invest in our youth. But that's how I got so excited about education in the first place. How do I make a difference for the future? I'm going to prepare a good chunk of students who are going to be excited and make a difference in this world. I still believe that as superintendent. So.
Good. How do you develop your critical thinking about this? Reading, traveling, fellow educators?
Mostly, and maybe it's the age. I talk with people. And I listen to people. People are amazing. If you start giving some ideas and thoughts, they start thinking back of their experience or some things they've done. Well, I'll be careful on the air. You and I have had some good discussions. But we all have that. And most of it is obviously talking with people.
Okay. Your confidence teaching in the schools, how involved are you in this? Do you see it as an opportunity? Does it break up your day? I would suspect, knowing you, it's your favorite way to get into a classroom.
You know me well. It is.
Yeah.
When people say, hey, can you come on in and talk with the kids? I can say, I can talk. I'm going to use the word with, because I'm not going to talk to them. I will talk with them. Because you have a couple-minute discussion, and you got to engage them and have a discussion. But it's more of, who are you? What do you want in this life? And pushing them till they say, okay, you heard what you said. Now what are you going to do about it? Because there's going to be barriers.
You say that to them.
I say that to them. But it's so amazing, especially with youth. They have ideas and they have dreams. And I constantly say, okay, one, go for it. But two, okay, what does it mean to do that? What steps are you going to take to make that happen? And put it back on them.
Backing up to that Warner Confidence Fair.
Those are some incredible, I call them kids, young adults.
Just a funny little thing to relate here is, after that took place, I was invited to their graduation dinner, and I was supposed to be the graduation speaker, but I got beat out by you.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
They probably would have. I was okay. You would have been better. But.
No. But I want to now ask you to share what you told those kids that night, because it was impressive. You had 3 points. Number one, what can only you do? Right. And I want you to elaborate on these. The first one is, what can only you do? What are you best at? What are you best in the world at doing? Okay.
And that comes from Jim Collins, his book, Good to Great, the whole piece of whoever you are, either as a person or as an organization. Good is the enemy of great. I'm okay at something, okay, I'm comfortable, but I'll never be great at it. It takes guts to really say, okay, what can I really, really be good at, great at? In other words, if I could put all my eggs in one basket, that's where I'm going to go. And then the other part of it is, what are you passionate about? You wake up every morning, I joke, but TGIM, thank God it's Monday, I can't wait to work again. I picked something that I'm incredibly excited about. It's in my soul, and I'm going to be really darn good at it. And the third part is, by the way, I can pay the bills.
When you're passionate about it, though, I don't see you being the person that says, oh, time to quit.
No. Exactly what you just said. Yeah. If you're doing that, get out of that job.
Yep.
I mean, it's that simple. If you're looking at, thank God it's Friday, I only got 2 more hours of this thing. You know what? You picked the wrong job.
How do you think you find that thing you want to do?
Well, part of it we're getting better at as a school district. We're using technology. It's called career cruising. What it does is students actually, and you can do it, you fill out some things you're interested in, some aptitudes. Do you like working with people? Do you like working by yourself? Are you a concrete thinker? You like it step by step? Or are you less structured in the sense of, okay, well, I'm not sure where we're going. That's where you would fall, by the way. And me too. And me too. Do you like to do the same thing day after day? Or do you like your days changing? So those are all questions. Sounds funny, but those are career questions. Because there are some jobs that take you a certain direction and some others. And then we say, okay, student, here's who you are. Here's some pathways you may want to consider taking.
Say a little bit about what you're good at versus including what you're comfortable with.
That's hard because I think often...
I mean, I think you have to combine those two.
Yes,
because
yes.
if you're just good at doing numbers, but you don't want to sit and do calculations all day, forget it.
Exactly. We have students that say, oh, I'm good at math, yeah, but I don't like it. Okay, then don't go into it. But let's connect on some things you may be interested in that can use some math skills to help you. Okay, but you're very much into environment. Okay, I bet there's some math skills that could help you in the environmental world, as far as being environmental technician or.
I just had a thought. What about how do extracurricular activities as popular as they used to be?
Yes.
As in finding, it's a wonderful way to apply what you can do.
Right, and we're blessed in Sheboygan because of the size that we offer all kinds of co-curricular activities. Yeah. I mean, from debate and forensics to drama to, of course, all the sports, and we have diversity programs and clubs and a chess club, and it just goes on and on. What are you interested in? That's where you have our counselors and our teachers push our kids. Get in something, one thing. Okay,
we have to keep going. The third point of your...
We have 2 hours, right?
Yeah, 3, Joe, 3. You have to feel 3. The third point of your confidence program is what drives your economic engine.
Right.
And first define economic engine and then explain it.
Well, to me, economic engine is, can you make ends meet? Can you pay your bills? And if you can, great. I'm using me as a perfect example. I plan on being a teacher and doing significant things. I never anticipated becoming a superintendent. But to me, if you pick something you're good at, you have some God-given talent, you have some passion with, the economic engine will take care of itself.
Or your economic engine has to take care of what you want. If you want to be a world traveler, or if you want to be, I think the example you used at Warner was, if you're an artist, your needs, wishes, wants are different than if you're a CEO.
You got it, exactly.
Right.
And some people...
And that's what you better anticipate.
Right. Some people are more... Money's more of an issue than others, but others are, money isn't the point. It's I need to really enjoy what I'm doing, totally, regardless of money. And that, like you said, okay, but you understand your standard of living financially is not going to be very high. But you're choosing that because you're going to be very happy with a more avant-garde, free style of living.
Right. And now your word to parents who want to encourage their kids is?
Help your student identify what they're good at and get out of their way. And that's a hairy term.
Bless you. I think a lot of kids would like to hear that.
Yeah. And think how much faith that has.
Yeah.
You really have to have faith in your child to say that. Say, I'm here to help you, but not guide you into something that I want. Right.
For you.
Right.
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 Yeah. Okay. Looking at the way the economy is now, we touched a little bit on this, but there's a book called The Rise of the Creative Class, and this moves right into that, where people are going to be preparing to live more independently, probably without an employer, right? To find solutions to how they spend their day, which is essentially working or accomplishing or making something of your life, finding an income, finding more personal satisfaction. How do you think the school system, specifically daily, is preparing future adults to live in that kind of world? Do you teach change? Yeah, that's a big one right there.
That's the one that you can make it sound, you make it sound daunting. Like, whew, that's what our future
Joe, you're the superintendent.
But it is. You're right. But it's a positive daunting in the sense of that is coming. And you're right, a much less structured society to the point where kids aren't going to necessarily have an employer. It's going to be, I work on this project, I get paid something, and then I'm done.
And you have your own health insurance. Yes. And you have your own everything. You aren't relying on it, and you're calling your own shots.
Right. Which, think about that.
Independent, responsible for yourself.
There's some comfort we have in our structure now that we've grown up with. Okay, I kind of know my work setting, it's what I do. Our students are going to have to be much more comfortable with gray and ambiguity. And okay, you know that, and change is coming. I mean, what is it now, 12 or 13 different changes in a person's life now?
Career
Yeah,
change.
that's
12 or 13.
huge.
It was like 1 when I started working, then it got to 7, now it's 12 or 13.
Right.
What is the SASD mission statement, not mission statement, in this area? What's the mission to get this kind
Well,
of...
part of it, as you talk about the change thing, is make sure our students have a mindset that, one, change is inevitable, and take advantage of it. I mean, that's so easy to say, but you get comfortable doing something, and that's where I keep going back to that good to great thing. Comfort is okay as long as you are doing something you're passionate about. But if you're not, have the guts to change. And if things are changing in our world, which they are, and again, you talk about employers changing, be ready for that, but be able to accept, hey, this was really good. What did I like about it? Student, reflect on what you liked about it. So when you get the next opportunity, you can kind of predict if you're going to be happy and successful because it's connected to some of the things that you like to do that taps into your skills. And if it doesn't, don't take it. And that's a lot easier to sit here and say that than...
What's the attitude of administrators and faculty? Are they on the same wavelength or at odds or in teaching?
Well, and I'm biased, but we're spoiled in Sheboygan.
Because?
We have incredible staff that are there for the kids.
Okay.
And even this whole iPad initiative thing that we're saying, and I thanked all the teachers. I said, you're out of your comfort zone, but you know it's what the kids need to be successful. Think how powerful that is. And I said sage on the stage to where the kids are actually at sometimes instructing the teacher on the technological part. But then the teacher says, okay, you have that. Now what critical thinking skills can we have you and develop some type of end product? And so it's a much different dynamic.
There are going to be a lot more individual contributions rather than company contributions.
Yes. And the companies are adjusting to that too. So we have to make sure our kids are ready for that.
Yeah. What do you think the concept of the future is among students of their future? Just the one point I see is, I was talking to a kid once, I said, what do you do these days? You must have your driver's license, you drive around, talk to friends.
Right.
Oh no, I stay in my bedroom and play video games. And I thought, and you're going to be out in the public person?
Right.
Do you think you're going to walk out of your bedroom on graduation day and do that if you don't prepare? What are students thinking of themselves in terms of this kind of stuff?
And some of what you said, and that student, okay, I say, is that what's preparing you for your future? And it sounds corny, but say, okay, well, I enjoy doing that. Okay, what do you really want to do? And then push them to do something different outside of, in your case, you described the bedroom piece or the living room.
That's my example,
Yeah,
not me.
But most kids aren't that way. I mean, they really aren't.
Do you think a lot of them are not isolated?
Oh, no. Now, it's our age.
Yeah.
We think if they're on the computer, they're isolated. Now, that's different for us, but they are more social than we probably ever were. I mean, when I was younger, I'd hang out with a couple friends, okay, 2 or 3 friends, or I was into sports or the sports team and that. But our kids, when they're online, they may be online with 2 or 3 friends, but they may be online with 20, 30 people. And that's something, again, that we try to teach them is that etiquette. And what does it mean? You would never keyboard in something that you wouldn't say to someone's face. All this cyberbullying and all that stuff. But that's a skill we didn't have to teach 20 years ago. So, but the thing of isolation that we need to understand, just because a student's on a computer doesn't mean they're socially isolated, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But that's a different mindset for us.
But they don't bond student-wise like we did. I know that because they tell me that.
Yeah. And then we need to get back, okay.
They aren't friends.
You as a human being, what are we missing? Yeah. Right, and
that's what I worry about when I hear this in my bedroom on the iPad.
Yeah, that's not socializing.
Not so hot. Right. Give me 2 examples. When I was in school, it was Shakespeare and advanced math or whatever. What's in the curriculum now that reflects this kind of thinking, this?
Well, you talked about the Warner School. I mean, we have different schools that are more project-based. At North and South, we're looking, it's going to be called flex scheduling, which is, you don't have the same class every time of the day, and you don't have the same setting. In other words, it may be with 15 students or maybe with 100, depending on what's being done that day. That's a significant shift, but it's putting more responsibility to the child or the student. which, I mean, for us, when the bell rang, we moved. And that's still happening now, but sometimes, too, our students are going to the workforce, or they're not.
They are in different places, locations.
They may not be at school.
At school.
I mean,
take them to the lake for a class, the lakefront.
Or a student will do an independent study and they're doing some research on, global warming. Okay, well, if they're picking that, they actually won't be at school for that, but they'll be checking in with a teacher like once every week, how they doing, and they're getting credit for that, but they're not in the typical classroom. I mean, things are changing.
Okay, Joe, I knew we would do a really handsome job of this if we got to everything in my notes. It's not going to happen. But I want to say that today is Election Day.
Yes.
Major significance for the country between Mitt Romney, the Republican, and Barack Obama, the current president, a Democrat. Confidence has played a major part in this campaign by both of them. How do you think it factored in, really? It became a part of it.
Right. This is my opinion.
Yes, exactly. That's what the whole show is.
It's not Republican or Democrat.
It's not your support, who you support. Right. It's what you.
I have two views on that, and one has to do with confidence. If you're that confident, then there's two other things that should be happening. One, you've laid out a clear plan of what you believe in and what it would look like, and I'm not sure if that's happened. And secondly, even more importantly, especially with our students, is the civility thing. If I'm truly confident in who I am and what I believe in and where we should be going, I don't have to treat other people nasty. I hope America gets away from that, because we've come, it's you're for me or you're against me. No, we're all in this to make it a better America, a better world. I know that's corny, but it's true. So how do we work together to make that happen?
I heard a news person, now a Marquette person, say this campaign has been about affirming, not informing. And then I think I would go up to a person and say, did you go to this event to be informed or affirmed? And they'd say both. And I say, oh, their idea of being informed is being affirmed. So do you think could you make a decision based on what was offered?
Well, again, the whole thing of diversity and having someone who has a different point of view than you. That's a good discussion. And to me, that's informing. And that's a discussion. That's what I got earlier. Listen to people. But if you have your mindset and you feel that you're challenged by someone else with a different opinion, and that goes back to the confidence. If you're not very confident in who you are or what you believe in, especially then you don't want to hear anything different. Because you're going, oh no, I may not be able to defend my opinion or viewpoint. But if you really feel strongly what you're about, you can welcome those discussions. I hope I'm making sense. That's the word to me, the civility comes in. And I think that anger and frustration is, take a step back. Why are you so angry? On both sides.
As a voter or as a candidate, angry?
I think sometimes, definitely as voters, I think sometimes our candidates are saying, oh, okay, if that's what my people want, well, then I'll act a certain way. I hope America stands up and say, stop it. We don't want that. What happened to this compromise? Compromise is now a dirty word. It should be compromise. Compromise means I gave and I gave. No, compromise, we both gained
and got a solution.
Yes, yes.
Rather than my way or the highway.
Which is usually no way, because it's just things get paralyzed.
Gridlock. Washington gridlock. Okay. We didn't get to my last question, which would have been your favorite quote, which, real quick, say it. I know it's from Gandhi.
Be the change you seek in the world.
And I would suggest you're probably doing it.
I try every day.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for joining us today. I want to thank my guest, Joe Sheehan, the Superintendent of Schools in Sheboygan. And I hope our discussion, taped on Election Day, but to air later, has enhanced the view from where you live.